Let's talk about Anthony Joshua's next move, because of me, people were talking about what AJ was going to do next, even before the Ngannou fight. So maybe they were all a lot more confident that AJ would get the job done with minimum fuss than I was. But Josh and I put together this video earlier today, which is giving me far too much credit, to be fair. It was Josh that did all the hard work. In terms of what AJ's next move would be, I just did the voiceover, provided my dulcet tones. I'm sure everyone's grateful for that. But the main option seemed to be AJ fighting Filip Hrgovic for the vacant IBF title, assuming it is stripped or vacated after Fury Usyk won. AJ waiting to see what happens with Fury and Usyk, and potentially coming in to fight the winner before any Fury Usyk rematch, which Eddie Hearn said in the build-up. I mean, he is going to say that. But he said that's a possibility. He believes Turkey Al Sheikh will throw lots of money at Joshua to fight the winner, especially after the Ngannou fight. And the loser of Fury Usyk will have to wait a while before the rematch. I'm not sure that's going to go down too well. And Tyson Fury, before the weekend, said he doesn't see that happening because of the rematch clause. But yeah, so that's another potential option for Joshua. Or he could sit on the shelf, safeguard his position, and fight the Fury Usyk rematch winner. But then that leaves AJ inactive for quite a long time. I'm not sure that's a good idea. Or he could fight someone else. So I'll ask for Josh's take shortly. But we're going to put out a poll. Basically, what should AJ do next? Should he, A, fight Filip Hrgovic for the IBF? Or B, should he wait for the Fury Usyk winner? Let us know what you think in the poll, and we will give you the results at the end of the show. But Josh, what do you think AJ should do next?
Should do is dependent really on the situation between Usyk and Fury. It's so unclear what's going to happen there. The rematch, of course, is part of the contract and part of the plan, but whether that comes off is very much a different story. I'd certainly be keen to stay active if I was AJ. He had 3 fights last year. He's obviously started this year strongly as well, and he seems to be really benefiting from having consistent action again and consistently staying busy. You know, when he wasn't quite as active and he took the losses to Usyk and previously Andy Ruiz, that he was really hampered by not having that consistent schedule and probably not having that mental focus either, which was taken away with all the time off. So the fact that he had the 3 fights last year, he started this year strongly. If he's able to get a fight early summer, whether that is the winner of Fury and Usyk or it is Hrgovic, I would be keen for him to have that fight. But if it isn't to be the Fury Usyk winner, then absolutely Hrgovic is the way to go. It's a world title. It's certainly a challenge. He's a terrific fighter, Hrgovic, and he's been waiting for this opportunity for a long, long time now. I think it would be capturing the interest of the boxing public, especially here in the UK. It's a world title fight with AJ in, and I think it would be interesting to see how he deals with the frame and the challenges that Hrgovic would pose, because he's an awkward fighter. And I think if I'd be looking to keep him active, and Hrgovic would probably be top of the list for me.
Well, yeah, as I said in the aforementioned video with my Oscar-nominated voiceover, it is the first belt that AJ won as a pro, the IBF title. Well, not the first belt. I think he had like a WBC International at one point. But the first world title was the IBF against the, again, aforementioned Charles Martin. Hrgovic will be a tougher challenge than Martin, I would imagine, at this stage of their careers. I don't think you can read too much into Hrgovic from that struggle against Zhilei Zhang. He obviously went into that fight not long after his father had passed away, and he certainly struggled in the early rounds of that one. Pulled it round, controversial decision, or contentious decision, maybe more accurately. But I think Hrgovic has got all the basics nailed down. He's a very good fighter, does everything well. I'd be backing AJ to win that fight, but I think he'll get a much tougher test than he just has enjoyed against Francis Ngannou. So we'll see. Yeah, I mean, AJ, I think a lot of what he's been doing recently has been based on that activity level. And I think waiting it out for too long in the hope of fighting the Fury Usyk winner and jumping the queue, if you like, unless you know for certain that's going to be a possibility, and that means Fury and Usyk both agreeing to that, probably ahead of the first fight, you wouldn't risk it. I think Hrgovic, AJ goes into it as a favourite. He gets another payday. It keeps him busy. IBF title, which will help his contractual leverage when it comes to challenging the winner of Fury Usyk, whether it's one fight or two. I think fighting Hrgovic in the meantime makes all the sense in the world. And you've got to imagine Hrgovic will be up for the fight. He's waited for his world title shot for so long. And coming against Anthony Joshua just increases the purse exponentially for him. So let's get that one on. Let's make that as close to Fury Usyk one as possible. So then the winners can potentially clash later this year. Or if there's a rematch, maybe AJ has another fight towards the end of the year and then the winners clash in the spring. But yeah, I'd certainly think the Hrgovic fight first makes sense. Timo Hoffman says, don't know how people believe Francis punches as hard as pro heavyweight boxers. They literally specialise in punching, have technique mastered. I think there's people out there that said Ngannou's a harder puncher than than Joshua. So I think that's probably part of it. I think Josh did an interview with Mark Tibbs where he said words to that effect. So it's not just people, media and fans. It is people in the boxing business as well. And I think there is a case to be made that just hitting an object full force, regardless of technique or hitting a moving target and so on, just hitting a punch pad or whatever it might be, maybe he does hit harder. Maybe his, velocity is stronger than Anthony Joshua's, but it's a lot different when you involve technique and a moving target and so on. Wizard Sleeve says Tyson Fury sucks. Getting a slight impression, Wizard Sleeve, that you're not the biggest Fury fan. I could be wrong. Crimson Titan, I'm not going to read the whole thing, it's too hard, says AJ needs to stay active. There you go. Thanks, mate. I should have read your whole name because you agreed with me. Bertolini says, why do so many seem to forget Ruiz took the same shot on the chin and went to KO him, and AJ couldn't land one of those in 24 rounds on Usyk? Nothing has changed except everyone thought MMA guy has a chin. I think it's more Joshua's, as I was saying earlier, his approach that people are really excited about, the gung-ho, reckless, search and destroy AJ that a lot of people have been hoping for recently. Now, it's whether that approach is down to the quality of opposition or lack of, or whether it's just an instilled mindset change now. Jasvinder Suri says, fight Dillian. I bet that's why Dillian jumped into a fight early next week after just getting cleared. So he's ready for AJ in the summer. Eddie Hearn actually ruled that fight out in advance of the weekend. He said, if AJ comes through Ngannou, he's only interested in the really big fights. He's probably only got 5 to 7 fights left in his career. This is what he told Radio Raheem. And in those 5 to 7 fights, he only wants the very big world title fights. So I don't know. Money changes people's minds, of course. If Dillian White looks great in his comeback fight against Christian Hammer, spoiler alert, don't think he will, because no one looks good against Christian Hammer these days. But if he does, and that feud can be reignited somehow, perhaps. Popoff 93 Boxing and Sports says, AJ, stay active, don't wait, then you'll get all the belts back. Just believe in yourself and keep your confidence. Bless you, Popoff 93, for thinking AJ's actually watching this. I mean, he might be. We're very popular in the Watford area, I believe. Watford demographic is strong. Ray says, fight Wilder, and AJ closes the loop on Fury opponents. Yes, very good point. Timo Hoffman, it's like failing your degree, resitting your GCSEs and thinking your master's level. Yeah, I mean, that's a very specific analogy there. DB Cooper 1 says, fight Hrgovic. You can't trust Fury or wait around for him. If he did fight Fury, it wouldn't be till November or December at this rate. Yeah, very good point. Dan this is the best Joshua we've seen. The beast who fought Ruiz and was dropping fighters like flies. People say that, but have you ever tried punching a fly? Not as easy as it sounds. Malcolm Marcel says, who said Turkey Al Sheikh would be interested in putting up the money for a rematch? Well, if he's the kind of power broker who's helped make the both fighters sign the contract initially, and the rematch clause was in that contract, doesn't it follow that he's going to have a say in that? Wizard Sleeve, I accused him of being a Fury hater, but I'll take it all back now because he said Fury will probably duck again or lose. Mark Edwards says Tyson Fury the best heavyweight ever. Mucky said might as well fight Hrgovic for the title, but Parker rematch would be better. How sellable is a Parker rematch though? I'm not convinced. Parker's on great form at the moment, looking really good and everything, but the first AJ Parker fight was neither exciting nor particularly close. So I don't know. It depends how long that's lived in the memories. John Isaac Morris says, Fury gets caught by that punch by Joshua. It's good night, unfortunately. Well, yeah, I think if anyone gets caught by that particular punch from Joshua, it's good night. It's just whether they're going to be a sitting target in the same way Ngannou was. Wilder won't be too keen on AJ, says Crimson Titan. He might want an Otto Vallin. Yeah, I mean, no disrespect to Otto Vallin. I think he's a lot better than he looked in that Joshua fight and has proved in previous fights. DB Cooper 1. Hearn's only interested in big fights, he says. Fights like Conor Benn versus a 45-year-old bloke long retired and never been the same, who is naturally smaller. We're going to be talking about that very subject in not too long, DB Cooper 1. So save your vitriol if you can for a few more minutes. And as for that particular quote from Hearn, he didn't say he was only interested in big fights himself. He said AJ's only interested in big fights because he's only got 5 to 7 fights left in his career.